Hey, welcome to Academy of Astrology YouTube channel. I'm Rod. Usually every month we will have a first week. We have Monday Marcus join me for the Academy of Astrology podcast, and then usually second week we will have all our colleagues who focus on mundane astrology join the panel discussion. And then the rest of the third week and fourth week, I will usually invite some colleague to join me and have like a little bit like a case study or talking about astronomy or something like a recent event. But today I'm going to talk about the Pope Francis because he was passed away on last Monday, 21st of April. Kind of a shocking news, or maybe not, because he was quite ill early this year. So today I'm going to use Pope Francis as an example, do a little bit, case study. Not really focus on mundane astrology view, but focus on maybe like a transit, solar arc, progression, midpoint. Bring the very, very different perspective of this, important person who passed away. I know it is a shocking news for most of the people who in the Catholic Church. You know, this world we have 1.4 billion people who are in this religion. I personally grew up in a Catholic family, but I don't really enjoy to go to church or to practice any, religion because my childhood trauma maybe, not really dramatic, but it's just like if I can choose, I choose not to do anything. Okay, but this doesn't mean I hate it or dislike it. I still quite respect most of the people who believe in religions, and as long as they respect each other. Okay, so today I'm going to share my point of view from his natal chart, and then with different time of the transit and progression. Okay, let's start. So here we are. Here we have Francis chart. This is his birth chart. He was born in the 17th of December 1936 in Buenos Aires in Argentina. In his natal chart, he quite interesting as a leader of a religion. Leader of a religion. What do you think? A sign related to religion usually is a Sagittarius, and he has a son conjunct nose node, the pathway, the place to move us forward, and we learning and grow with this North Node, Sun conjunct North Node at 25 degrees Sagittarius. And also, it is very interesting. Some astrologer interpretation about this any planet conjunct with node, doesn't matter south node or north node, any planet conjunct with nodal axis are usually bring a very, very clear, vivid image to the public about this planet. So here we have Sun conjunct North Node. So we will see this person, we may see this person as a leader. Okay, doesn't matter he want or not, but we will see project a leader image to him. And also quite interesting, one of my study is galactic center. When he was born, this position, 25 degree, late of 25 degree Sagittarius, is where located the galactic center, which means all our solar system, with together with other galaxy in the Milky Way galaxy are orbit around this location. And when we project it into the ecliptic, it's at 25 degree Sagittarius. At this moment, it moved to 27 degree now. It moved to 27 degree now. So, but when he was born, it's very close to his sun. So this is a very interesting. Usually, it has a very simple meaning about move around, orbit around. But usually it brings a very important issue, subject, or important theme. And for him, hey, he is a leader of a 1.4 billion people, the organization. So how coincident it is, right? It is a very interesting. But notice that he has a sun opposite Chiron, okay, opposite Chiron, and wildly formed a T square with Neptune, Chiron, wounded healer, either wound or healing, or somehow it related to like people who does not fit into anything. And also could be a teacher, okay, could be a teacher. So it's quite interesting, but also both planets make a T square to Neptune. Chiron is quite tight to square to Neptune, but the Sun is a little bit loose. But still, it forms a T square. We will see this theme as a kind of a wounded spiritual leader, or maybe he tried to heal the world as a leader. Okay, that is a very interesting, especially for the people who trying to distinguish the Virgo, the Neptune in Virgo, distinguish in the spiritual way, distinguish in the kind of a dream and the vision and the idealism. So try to bring those vision onto the earth to make it happen is not an easy task. Anyone like me who working on the field, who working on day to days, try to make your dreams happen. Just imagine how difficult that could be. Okay, so it could be a wounded healing thing. But another way, look, another side quite interesting because in his chart, he has kind of a, if you look carefully, well, if you don't look carefully, let me say that, if you don't look carefully, it looks like it has a multiple grand course. If you say you use a kind of a huge orb, yes, he may have a grand course. But to be honest, if you use a tight orb, you may not say it has a grand course. Okay, why? So that does look. You will see he has the Sun kind of a square, Sun square Neptune is quite wild orb, and then the Neptune square Chiron. But Chiron square Saturn. Okay, now we have another planet coming. This is a planet which is serious and criticism, responsibility in a sign of Pisces. Well, so that means a couple of years ago it was his Saturn return. Yes, 88 years old. Yes. So Saturn in Pisces, a kind of building the dam, building the wall in the ocean or in the uncertainty, try to anchor in the uncertainty. We can make it this interpretation, or you can say anything else. Now, Saturn is kind of a, if you say square to the Sun is quite kind of a wide orb, but it's okay. It's okay. You can put it in this way. So it has kind of a mutable T square. For some astrologer will say no because it's quite loose. Anyway, you can see whatever you like, but we can see, or we can also interpret it in 2T square. So we already interpret the Sun opposite Chiron, T square Neptune. We can also see the similar image from Neptune opposite Saturn, and both make a T square to Chiron. This wound in the Gemini, a Chiron in the Gemini, this wound in the language, wound in the thought, wound in the community, day-to-day life. So it's quite interesting how to make our beautiful vision happen in the uncertainty, keep changing wave, the Pisces changing wave, and then in the day-to-day language and the study and to pass in the community in this Chiron in Gemini. So it's a very interesting ground course or the 2T square. Also, nevertheless, don't forget he has Moon at 12 degree Aquarius and Venus at 7 degree Aquarius, and they are conjunct in Aquarius, a sign of kind of has a vision and future-oriented, humanistic or not, or maybe kind of, very kind of trying to move forward, future-oriented. And more interesting is he's kind of a mutual reception, let me say in this way. Venus in Aquarius and the ruler of Aquarius, Uranus in Taurus, ruler by Venus, and they square each other. This square also quite important. Not well, you can say if he is in an ordinary life or something or political, he may be play an important role in the economic or agriculture or maybe fashion, beauty, or maybe, about the female right issue. I don't know. It could happen, right? It is very interesting. Although we don't really see that because we know he's a progressive, but he did not really change the position of a female inside of Roman Catholic Church, and that being criticized. Well, I would say he do his best. There's a lot of things that also have a lot of power against his progressive change. So, hey, I don't know. I'm not really focused on that area, but I know he did try to move forward from several different perspectives inside the Roman Catholic Church. So I'm trying not to judge too much, okay? But in another way, his moon and the Venus is unlike Venus, so I have difficulty to judge him. That is quite interesting. This is synastry. I'm not going there. Okay, so we have all this, and also you can see the Mercury is undescendant at 11 degree. This is a angular planet. Okay, if you are a beginner learning to look at the chart, never ignore the angular planet. Usually it's an important signature. So, few things. When I look at the chart, if I try to very quickly grab some image about this chart, angular planet or the planet conjunct with North Node, South Node are usually where I go first, and then I will go stelliums. So, stellium in the house, stellium in the sign are usually another things I will focus on. Okay, this is a very interesting natal chart, though you said, and I think another, we can say roughly, the Uranus is also another planet on the angular. So this is how we know him, about his speech, about his way to talk, and about his rebelling or progressive or idealism and future-oriented power in his church. Okay, quite interesting is about the midpoint. Well, I do use midpoint, yeah, and so it's quite interesting. Let me see if we can share this one. Okay, here we are. The midpoint. If we look at midpoint, you will see first interesting. I want to guide you to look here. Okay, he has Sun, Moon midpoint on Mars. Let's look his Mars. Well, his Mars is at 19 degree Libra. So it's a Mars which from traditional view is a little bit more its detriment. So this Mars does not fit into the kind of a general or traditional expectation of a Mars which attack or which being aggressive. This Mars maybe have to find its own way. It's not really kind of a direct attack, but it's more like what? When every time I talk about the Mars in Libra, I think about the male stripe play the role in the they will wear the Prada. So when they attack, they kind of attack from the side, or they kind of use a beautiful way trying to remove you from a beautiful place to another beautiful place, then they can move into what they want. So this Mars is also on his Sun Moon midpoint. This suggests that be move forward, maybe express himself, or maybe be kind of a gentle aggressive or passive aggressive. I don't know how to passive aggressive. Maybe it's kind of his signature look from the midpoint chart. Well, midpoint is a very interesting look. You can see his moon is on the Jupiter Chiron midpoint and quite tight. So this moon at a position at middle point of a Jupiter Chiron. The Jupiter religion, Jupiter growth path, and the Chiron healing his feeling is on how to heal this religion, how to make it as a whole. Quite interesting. And then you look at his sun. His sun's midpoint also quite interesting. Sun at the Jupiter Neptune midpoint. How fantastic! He's a religion's leader, and he has sun at the Jupiter Neptune. And look, apart from that, he also have a Jupiter Saturn and Jupiter Chiron in his sun's midpoint. This is overwhelmed. This is so interesting. And I have to share with you another important information is if you want to learn midpoint on the 7th of June, our dear friend Christine Skinner is coming to Academy of Astrology to teach midpoint planetary picture. If you want to know a little bit more about the midpoint, come to join us. Okay, go to our website to enroll. This class is only £20. Okay, so this is a midpoint for the Pope Francis, and it's quite interesting how interesting this chart. You can see the Jupiter is on his Jupiter midpoint is on his sun. There's so many Jupiter Chiron, Jupiter Saturn, and Jupiter Neptune. Fantastic. Okay, well now I'd like to invite us to move to fixed stars. This is another area I really like to look things from the fixed star. So now I will turn on the star map. Okay, the star Starlight, the software I use. So when we look at the fixed stars, it's quite interesting because Pope Francis, if you look at this, you will see the Procyon rising at ascendant. Okay, Procyon rising at ascendant when he was born, and the Sua Thing was at descendant. Okay, so let's check the map. I like this. So let's look, where is Procyon? To try to find Procyon, we have to find the Cani Major and the Cani Minor, so they are in the same area. Okay, so it's another side. Okay, here we are. So this is a ecliptic. Don't forget, he was born in South Hemisphere. So we have this is the Gemini and the Cancer. Have a look at this tiny constellation. This is Cani Minor and this is Cani Major. Here is a series, but here it's a Procyon. So what does when I study fixed star, I like to start the stars on the angle when you were born. I usually, if we can find a star in the person's map when he was born, usually it's important, significant. It's like an angular planet. When I was talking about this is an angular stars, and star is immortal. Star is our spiritual guide. And it's also embody or incarnation, if you want to use spiritual way. It's kind of reincarnate these stars. And what does Procyon mean? Let's look different astrologers' explanation. Well, according to Vivian Robson, and he says Ptolemy given nature of a Mercury and Mars. So it could be, sharp language or use language and the word as attack. Okay, this is one way, and it's about the energy aggression, and somehow it's kind of a very weird, shocking, out of blue behavior. This is basically what the Vivian Robson says. And then for another astrologer, Albus Everything, she was talking about Procyon as a sign of a wealthy success, and then also everlasting of right and good affected. Quite different view. I quite like Albus Everything's view because it more fit into the ancient view, Babylonian view of this star. Babylonian see the Cani Major and the series and the Procyon as a healer, as a healing stars. So there is a healing and a kind of a important guidance in these fixed stars. Benedict Brad is very interesting. She described these fixed stars as like a firework. So it moves fast, it rides fast, but not last long. Well, this is another interpretation, but however, I didn't really see from Pope Francis' life what does mean move fast? It does move fast, but not that long. He lasts quite long, to be honest. Well, not as long as the June per second, but he's still quite, quite interesting. Now, look, another side of a zodiac, not zodiac, another side of the sky is in the western side of the sky, and we have the stars called Sua Lucin. Have you seen Dolphinus? Dolphin, okay, constellation Dolphinus, okay, and we have a star called Sua Lucin. Okay, Sua Lucin is in the setting, touch the horizon. It is very interesting. Okay, if you want to understand what the Sua Lucin mean, you understand dolphin. Use your imagination of a dolphin. What do you reckon about a dolphin? Human friendly, smart. They are quite smart, to be honest. If you check all the animal all around the world, I think they are quite smart as a human behavior, and they have a lot of social. They like social. They move. They play together, and I think it's quite interesting to when we see the Sualucing as a dolphin. So kind of sweet, friendly, witty, always helpful and playful. This is the star at the western horizon when it's setting. So this is how he treats other people, how other people see him. Witty, friendly, always help. He during the kind of deep, kind of totalitarian time of Argentina, Pope Francis helped a lot of people, especially those young protesters. He hiding them, he helped them. So, and he's always focused on social justice. So it's a very friendly person from the point of view. Okay, now let's look another two stars. It's about his heliacal rising and the heliacal setting. Okay, if you want to know more about this on our channel, somewhere I will post it. We have explained what is a heliacal rising, heliacal setting. Okay, if you want to understand more, go to watch that video. And Arcturus is his heliacal rising. You can see here Arcturus. Okay, Arcturus was rising when he was born. So is how we see this Arcturus. Okay, Arcturus. Let us see. It's in the north hemisphere. It's in the north hemisphere, and that is the constellation used to be seen as kind of a farmer or hunter holding the dog. So here is the bush and here is Arcturus. All right, it's like so how we see this. Don't forget, Arcturus is a bright star, very bright star. And in his chart, when he was born, this star is a heliacal rising before the sun. So pretty interesting. Arcturus is a leader. It's a leader for the transition. So, from according to Benedict Brady, this is a used to be a hunter, then transformed to the farmer. So it's a transformation, a leader leading people in the transition time. So it's not a short time. It's about how we change our society from the hunting to the farming. It's also a pathfinder. So it does fit it into his image, right? Okay, so this is the heliacal writing. What kind of image and what kind of spirit inspire him? Then now let's go back to look. What is his hierarchical setting? This is how he carry out his mission. If his mission is a pathfinder, if he need to find a new path, then how he going to find it? By Old Barnum. Well, Old Barnum, most of us know, is one of the four of the royal star in Taurus. So we have to go to Taurus to see this image. Especially, let me warn you, especially you are like me living in the North Hemisphere, you probably not used to this chart. Look here, this is Taurus and the horn is pointed down because we are look a chart, astro map in the South Hemisphere. So it's like a horn is toward the horizon. And the Old Barnum is here. Old Barnum is the eye of the bull in the sky. So what does mean the eye of bull? use your imagination. What does both eye does when it's fighting? It's there and it's a fighter. So there is a focus, and also I think in the English, if I remember correctly, for the darts, the center of the goal is called eyeball. Bow of eye of bow. So it's quite interesting. We focus on our target. We focus on our target and try to hit it. But another way, Benedict Brady told us, these stars represent the in the Persian time represent either the Mithra or Ahura Mazda, the god of a commercial, the god of a light and honest integrity, the god of trading. So it is about to be very honest and honor the integrity. In one way, focus on your goal. In another way, stay as honest and look after each other as you can, not like for your benefit and then, kind of take advantage of the other. That would be punished by the god of Ahura Mazda. So, Mithra. So it's very interesting for him to stay in this higher position. He can get more power by, abuse his power or not be honest or kind of take advantage from the other people, but he never did it. So this is how he carry out his action. Stay focused on his goal and be very honest and be gentle, nice, not take advantage of the other people. This is how we interpret the fixed stars. Wow, it's quite long. So, but I really want to share some other things with you. So I want to go to the few event in his chart and go to look different transit, secondary progression, and solar arc. Okay, let's begin. Okay, let me turn on the chart. So, in 1958, it was the Protestant first joined the Jesuits and to start his religion's, path. And that was a very interesting during this time. Let's look the transit of this time, okay? So now let's move here and bear with me a little bit, okay? I have the date he joined the Jesuit, okay? And let's look transit. So here we are. We have transit at that time on the day he joined the Jesuit. Okay, let's focus on as I was trained in the faculty, and we usually first when we look transit, focus on outer planet first. It have a long-term impact. Okay, so we have the very interesting. You will notice Jupiter. He was started his religion path, and then Jupiter was right on his IC, come from the end of his chart, come the bottom of his chart, a solitude, a grounded root. He start his kind of a spiritual path, and then also it's kind of a very interesting because we have Neptune is also here. Jupiter, Neptune play the important role. And nevertheless, we have this Jupiter conjunct Neptune opposite is Uranus. You know that. As it is a kind of a ground course, or not ground course. As it's yes, he has the T square. He has a square between Uranus and Moon and Venus. So this form a T square now. And to his moon and the Venus is MC ruler. Venus is his MC ruler. Okay, it's quite interesting. Yes, I noticed that Venus there. I will talk about it later. Okay, but that, as I say, that us focus on the outer planet first. So we also have a transiting Uranus, square his own Uranus. Okay, square his own Uranus. Yes, this is usually happen when people are 20 something. Okay, so 21st, around 21st, 2020. Okay, in his time is kind of well, how many years old? I think it's 22. I think yes, 22. Okay, yeah, 22 years old. Okay, we have Uranus square Uranus. Yes, and then also we know this Uranus is opposite again trigger these Moon Venus conjunct square natal Uranus. Okay, very interesting time. But also we have Saturn transiting Saturn is at 25 degree. How amazing. Remember what I said that time? Galactic center is here and Saturn is in galactic center. Saturn conjunct his north node and his sun. Okay, as I say, we will notice the Venus was on the day was there and the sun is very close to his Saturn, his descendant ruler, and then the Saturn is on his node, but the Venus, the MC ruler, is back to his natal Venus. Very interesting. We call this trigger. It's kind of every outer planet set up the background, and then the inner planet, fast-moving planet like a Sun, Mars, or Venus, or Mercury, or even the Moon will click the button to make everything happen. This is how we see the transit role in the inner planet in the transit. Okay, now transit is not only thing we focus. I usually suggest my student look a little bit more like a secondary progression or solar arc. So I would suggest we look the secondary progression as we are here. Okay, I know it will take a little bit time, but hey, just look at it, just learn from each other. All right. So when we look at secondary progression, the technique is a kind of a one day after birth is 1 year. Okay, and then see the how the planet moving. But usually the outer planet is not moving. You will see outer planet is stay in the same. So let us ignore outer planet. Focus on inner planet. You will see Mars is on his I see, but Mars probably stay here probably kind of a 2-3 years, but it's still an important moment because the Mars close to IC is quite important, and Mars is his IC ruler too. Also, Mars also ruler his fifth house. Pretty interesting. Okay, now let's look. Where is the sun? Sun is kind of very close to the sun midpoint. This is another thing we can see. Okay, Mercury is retrograde at moment. Interesting. Mercury is a retrograde at moment and the square Mars. Usually, what I really want to focus is the moon. Moon in the secondary progression play an important role, and this moon is trine Pluto. Well, in his first house. What does that mean? Pluto in the first house, the feeling of he want to find out a little bit more and have a deep connection with this world. I know some people will explain Pluto as a taboo or kind of a crisis or power or a hunger for power. Yeah, it could be, but it can also mean deep connection. Okay, this is how I see it. Okay, let us very quickly look the solar arc. This is another technique I usually use in the looking for the make a forecasting. But today we are using it as an exam, re-exam the important event in his life. Let's go to here. So the day he joined the Jesuits, and you can see this is another technique. Use every planet move around 1 degree for 1 year of life. So now the sun will be the similar position, very close to his sunward midpoint. And what else we have? Okay, look, here we can look at outer planet. Here we can look at the outer planet. So we have the Saturn at 8 degree, Aries. It's kind of a square his ascendant. Well, very soon, well, a square. Usually in the solar arc and the secondary progression, I use not more than 1.5 degrees, but still very close, okay? And we have solar arc Neptune. Look, solar arc Neptune, okay? Well, it's also square. It's a very tight square, ascendant. So ascendant is my connection with this word. And Neptune is about the spiritual, about vision, about love to this word, about sacrifice to give in. Okay, pretty interesting. And I think we also, well, let's say Mars is trine. Mars is a kind of a trine Chiron and also trine ascendant. Okay, move forward for what you like. Okay, that's quite interesting. For this moment, he start to join the Roman Catholic as a as a part, and also very soon he will become a priest. He become priest only 1969 in the December. So let me go to move the chart. Okay, so it's only 13, according to Wikipedia, 13th of December 1969. At this moment, I don't change the um location. Okay, well, I think I use Rome, but I can use Buenos Aires too. Okay, where should we start? Okay, let's start from transit then. Sorry, let's start from transit. So we have a layer. Okay, you start at my usual way is to start from solar arc and progression, and then I will go to transit as the trigger. Okay. Oh, why not stay in this way? Okay, let's see solar arc first. Okay, so usually solar arc gives us a big picture of this time. So the solar arc we have, the moon is under Saturn. Wow, this is the kind of a gentle touch to his responsibility. Okay, the moon about his need. He need to feel the discipline. He feel need to take a responsibility in this vast changing world. And the Pisces, there is no rule. The things keep changing. He need to find his. He need to be the anchor, or he need to find his anchor. Okay, this is the. Don't forget, this is solar arc. It's beginning from the year before, and will have impact for another 1 or 2 years, depending on how you see the orb. Okay, so we have this one, and also I think we also look this one. Wow, again Jupiter again played an important role here. Jupiter is right on his Venus, his MC ruler, and well, yeah, we can say Jupiter was square Uranus. Oh, so this could be a changing time. Okay, this would be a changing time. As I say, when I use the solar arc, I use not more than 1.5 or 2 degree, but maximum 2 degree, maximum 2 degree. I will not use more than that. Okay, so it is pretty interesting about this. Okay, now let's move to the secondary progression. So we big frame is about he need anchor himself, or he need to be the anchor, and he finally, how to expand, how to explore his value and his love presented by natal Venus and his career. This year he become priest. Okay, now let's move to the transit. Okay, I know transit is the technique usually most people using, but I suggest if you're a beginner, never satisfied, never only stay in the transit, or even you say solar return. They are the same. They are the important transit. Look, the solar arc, Fadaria, or like a perfection, any technique like you don't really just stick with transit. That is, well, we don't usually judge one thing if we only see it on transit. Okay, now have you seen it? Saturn this year, Saturn is on his MC, another responsibility, conjunct his Uranus and square his moon and Venus. Wow. What can I say? This is astrology. Okay, and look the North Node. Look at the Rose Node. transiting north node is right on his Saturn. It is a fundamental Saturn moment for him, right? We already see so many different things go with Saturn. And I usually explain to my student the transiting north node are likely timing indicator. When the north node point to one planet in your chart, when the transiting south node or transiting north node point to one planet in your chart, that means it is a time for that planet to perform in your life. It's like I don't like to, you know, pay more attention to J.K. Rowling. But Harry Potter, in the movie Harry Potter, there's a clock, right? Indicate who is in danger or who is at home. This is like that point, okay, like that needle. So point to Saturn is time for the discipline, it's time for the tradition, it's time for the responsibility, it's time for limitation, separation, anything. So for him, well, become a priest, become an authority figure in the Roman Catholic, this have 1,000 years tradition. Could we say this is a Saturn moment? Yes, this is a Saturn moment. Okay, so pretty interesting. And another side, look, because he has a Saturn Neptune opposition, right? So the South Node is on his Neptune. Love to this world, his vision, his artistic ability, or maybe his dream, and how to make it come true, and how to extract this ability from what he learned before from the South Node. So this is the how he became the priest. And then in the 2001 February, he become Cardinal of the of the South America of the Argentina. So that's move to this time. Okay, let's move to this time is on the 21st of February 2001. Then let's move to this time. Okay, now let's look from transit then. So at this moment we have, wow, have you noticed quite interesting? The South Node and North Node come to its ascendant and the descendant. Usually people ask me, what does this mean? Well, if you know how to interpret the every symbol in the astrology, you can make it interpretation. So the North Node is our how we grow, and the ascendant is our personal identity. So it's kind of finding path to your personal identity is a crucial, important moment. And then South Node conjunct descendant is what you learn from the other people will help you to achieve this identity. And for him, this is how he achieved what he learned from other people. And South Node is on the Mercury, conjunct Mercury. So it's a moment of his word, his voice to be heard, his voice to be, to be spread out. But never forget, Mercury is ruler of his third house, how he articulate, how he focus on his sibling or neighborhood, but also 12th house, give himself to everyone. Okay, so this is the 12th house, give yourself to everyone. All right, we also have transiting Neptune. We also have transiting Neptune in the, here we are. Okay, 7 degree. Oh, ouch. This Venus, have you noticed this Venus has been triggered again? So Neptune is a conjunct Venus and square the Uranus in the 10th house. Okay, so this is how astrology works. Now he's kind of achieved the the most glory time. Not yet, but he become an important figure in the Roman Catholic. Okay, now we have the Chiron is very close to the sun. This is transit Chiron. Chiron conjunct the sun. Okay, now is a wounding healer or the healer of the leader. Okay, as a leader, as a healer. So Well, as he's um Cardinal, and then he also the Roman Catholic Cardinal. He also focused on social justice. He uses power, he uses position to bring a benefit to the society. Okay, now we have Uranus. Hey, look this. We have Uranus at 21 degree Aquarius. Try his Chiron. Okay, try his Chiron. Pretty interesting. So kind of a finding using the technology, using the progressive idea to heal the wounds. Now, that move to the secondary progression. Secondary progression. Okay, yeah, this is how I do the chart usually when I deal with client. And have you seen outer planet is not moving much, but let us focus on inner planet. Have you seen Sun just moving into Pisces? Wow. Okay, pretty interesting. And he shift his focus. Okay, now we have a Mercury again. Trigger is natal Venus. This Venus is really essential. Okay, it's a really essential key. It's MC ruler. It's MC ruler and the ruler of the 11th house. Mercury now is conjuncted Venus in the secondary progression. Okay, in the secondary progression. What else we have? Have you noticed anything interesting? Um, well, yes, I think we have the um I think we also have the Mars, right? Yes. Wow. This is quite interesting. Am I doing the right? Yeah, yeah. So it is quite interesting. I think this, the Mars in the kind of 22 degree Scorpio is, oh, sorry, my mistake. Mars and the Saturn is formed a trine at this time. Okay, Mars, Saturn formed a trine at this time. Okay, let's see. We also, let me check. Let's move to solar arc. Okay, what we see here. Well, if you want to train your eyes, just pause a moment and then I stop talking and then look at the chart. It's very difficult to ignore certain things, right? Write it down and then come back. Now, okay, you see that solar arc Uranus is right on ascendant. The changing his life, his life path is totally changed now. And the year he become the cardinal, and it's very important in his life. What else we have? Woo, we have Mercury on Saturn, okay, and we have Mars on the North Node and the Sun. This is solar arc. Push him forward. He's achieved his goal now. Okay. We also have interesting Pluto, 3 degree Libra, square Jupiter. Wow, getting more power, or understand what power can bring the benefit, or how corrupt the power. We also have Chiron. Look at the Chiron. Try the Sun and the North Node. Okay, so this is the year he become the cardinal. Now, on the 2013, March 13, he being elected as the Pope of the Roman Catholic. Interesting time because I was looking the time, watching TV that time. There was kind of important moment. The first Pope from South Hemisphere. That is very unusual. But many people say this year, would we still have like a Pope from the different part of the world outside of Europe? I hope so, because I think a Roman Catholic they need to change a little bit. Okay, now let's look at the solar arc. How about that? Let's focus on solar arc first. Okay, what do you notice? Interesting. Have you seen solar arc moon? It's right on its MC. It's a solar arc moon because they move together. Okay, and it's going to very soon. It's going to pass the MC. This is a fantastic. This is fantastic, and you will notice when the moon conjunct his Uranus. Venus will conjunct MC. Okay, that is very interesting. What else we see? Okay, we have the solar arc. Well, I think solar arc Mars is tri-Uranus. Okay, tri-Uranus and solar arc Chiron. Well, interesting. They form a Earth-born trine. Now it's grounded. And what does that mean? Well, it is about time to use progressive power to healing the world. Why I say that? This is a progressive power. Uranus, a progressive power and to change the world. Mars in Capricorn, and then to healing the world. But also, he has to adopt what Roman Catholic honor, this tradition. He cannot go in and tear everything down and say, let's start from the ground zero. The Roman Catholic will not accept that. So he has to do it carefully. Now, look what you see, okay? Let me show you. Have you noticed the Uranus, okay? The Uranus is at the I think sorry, no. I think we have the Neptune. Yes, Neptune. 6 degree. Okay, 6 degree is kind of quincunx the Uranus here. And we also have the Uranus, that's what I say. Uranus at 23 degree, quincunx the Sun and the North Node. And we also have the, I think, Saturn at 3 degree, quincunx Jupiter. Quincunx. One key word of quincunx is adjust. I don't think it is a great honor to become a pope, but for him also is kind of adjust. Because, well, from a cardinal, he could be progressive, but from a pope, there's so many power struggle around him. And then some people against him as a cardinal is okay, but as a pope, he has to be compromised. He has to deal with different power. For him, this is the moment of the quincunx. How many sets of quincunx in his chart have you noticed? We have Neptune, Uranus. We have Uranus for the Sun. We have Saturn and Jupiter. I only use maximum 2 degree orb. So if you can find anything else, add it in. All right, add it. I don't usually use the wide orb for the quincunx. And second, also in the solar arc, I don't usually use the large orb. I give it maximum 1.5 degree. Okay, now let us go to check how about the secondary progression. Secondary progression, let us again ignore all the outer planet, and we have the moon just moved to 0 Sagittarius when he elected the Pope. Oh my God, Mamma Mia. Okay, we also, well, I think Jupiter will stay here for a long time. Jupiter is on his sun moon midpoint, okay? And we also have the, I think during that time, probably we can move to the transit, maybe. We can move to transit, okay? Okay, this I have to be very careful because I use Rome, Italy, and the night, and the timing is 7 p.m. 06. This was the time they announced they have new pope. Okay, so this is a chart. We will look at this chart later. Okay, but look this chart. Okay, first let us focus on outer planet. What did you see? Okay, we have the transiting Pluto only descend that become the angular. The power, the immense power, the power that you couldn't image is right on his descendant now. So don't worry about if you ever have a transiting Pluto on the angle. You say, I'm not going to die. Oh, you become very powerful, maybe, like him. Okay. So also we have Neptune. We have Neptune 3 degree. Okay, we have Neptune 3 degree. Pisces is kind of trying his Uranus. Okay. And we also have transiting Uranus. Hey, sextile is Venus. Okay. And what else we have? But also square. Here's Jupiter. Wow, very white. Okay, very white. So this is the transit moment. Okay, I know most of people already know this chart. Okay. Sorry, let me go back. Let me come back. Okay, let me swap and then move here. So this is the moment when he elected the Pope. You have the Uranus is right on the descendant, and then Pluto was here. Okay, what's very interesting because my colleague um, Louisa Azencourt point out the signature of Uranus in the important time in his life are significant. So yes, this is one thing. It's a very interesting Uranus moment, and he did leave the like the handprint of the Uranus like a revolution and a progressive and in the in his chart. Okay, another things I usually use is comet. Um, in 2013, that time there's a comet in the sky called Comet Tenstrat, and then the moment he elected, the day he elected, this comet was moved from the south hemisphere to north hemisphere. And then we have a new pop from South Hemisphere to North Hemisphere. How amazing it! And that day, the comet was aligned, you say conjunct, aligned with Uranus. A really revolution, a really new era to begin. Like we say from the fixed star point of view, he is a leader, leading people in the transition time, big moment from one era to another way. Okay. Well, now let us back to his chart, and also finally, I will say let's go to the time when he passed away. Well, the first things we know that last year we have a comet, 执金三 Atlas, and Atlas was conjunct the Sun at 9 degree, at 17 degree Libra on his Mars. Okay, the IC and the fifth house ruler, very close to his natal Mars, and also finally disappear from his Jupiter. Okay, and that is the sixth house ruler, and he was quite ill early this year. Remember, and also I think it's pretty striking if we use the time of his death. Okay, let me get this chart out. So here we are. We have the time he passed away, and we see the sun again is on the MC, and the moon it conjunct the Pluto is near again, very close to his Venus. And the Mars nevertheless, I think Mars was around here for a while. This is a pretty heavy transit. Remember, if we look at only the transit chart, we notice that Mars was on IC, Uranus is on the ascendant, you already know this, and the moon conjunct the Pluto was right on the MC. What a sad and shocking moment for a lot of people. Well, this is what we see for use Pope Francis as a case study example. If I'm going to prepare clients chart, I usually use all this kind of transiting technique. Also, well, it's quite interesting. Let me show you one thing. You know how I love astro-map. Um, Usually, if you are related to a place, your map will go through the area. Quite interesting if let me say that if I use Pope Francis as the map, then we will find what? Okay, look here. Now let's see the map. And then this is where he born, right? Buenos Aires. And then we go to Rome. To be honest, there's not many things here. Well, most close would be Jupiter, but still a few degrees away. And then we also have nodal from here. We have Mercury. But nevertheless, let's see another chart. That is more interesting is the when he elected the Pope. And then we draw the chart. This time we look the line from the Vatican, from Rome, and then move to South Hemisphere. What did you see? We have Pluto descendant line. We have Jupiter local space line, very close to where he was born. Okay, this is a very interesting mapping technique. Well, why I'm showing this, tomorrow on the 26th of April, I'm giving a workshop about astrocartography, one of my favorite techniques. I study astro-mapping for over 20 years. I'm very experienced. I have a lot of experience working with map, and I can explain how we make this map and what does that mean. Also, if you have a very basic knowledge about astrology, you can already learn to interpret the astro map from local space to the astrocartography. So tomorrow we will focus on astrocartography, and we will find how we make it and what does that mean and how to make interpretation. Okay, it's beginner friendly, but if you already know few technique, we can have a good review about this technique, and then we can also move to the advanced, and I will give you some example. Also, the following week on the 3rd of May, I am giving another workshop. This time we focus on local space. It's a very different technique, but most people put it together. I like to separate it to examine their different technique, their different function, and then we can put it together. Okay, and also, but both workshop is a good news. It's donation based. That means there's no fixed price. You can give what you like. Some people give me £10, some people give me £5, some people give me £3. Well, this is how much you can give. Okay, so I want to use this opportunity to encourage most people to learn this technique. I know it's a very popular technique, but most people don't know how to use it, how to read it. So I want to use this technique, this opportunity to share my knowledge. And as I don't really concerned about money at this moment. So I use the donation base to try out and to see how this result it is. And please come to join us if you are interested in the astrocartography and the local space. Well, if you miss it, okay, send me an email as soon as possible when you know that when you notice, and then you still can maybe have a 1 month to listen the streaming of the recording, okay, but not too late, okay. Maybe I will give you 1 more week. So until next week, okay? And if you watch this after the kind of mid of May, well, you can contact me. I maybe have a video, and then I'll upload somewhere and we can talk about it. Okay, well, thanks for joining me today. I know it's late, and then or maybe you watch it over the weekend. Have a nice weekend, and then do you have any observation want to share about Francis chart, and or if you have any subject you like to study, leave on the comment area and let me know. Okay, thank you. Bye.